Are Christians, Muslims, and Jews worshiping the same God? You hear this quite often, that because these are from the Abrahamic religions, that they are worshiping the same gods. So when someone says the Abrahamic religions, what are they talking about? They're talking about the fact that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all stem from Abraham. That is their common point of origin, is Abraham. But yet, each one of them then displays that this God is very different. And if this is true, well, it ain't if this is true, since this is true, then are they worshiping the same gods? No. And how does this God feel about them worshiping him in different ways? If it was the same God, how would this God function in that? Now, oftentimes, the Bible displays that this God is saying, for either one of them, do as I say, not as I do. To give you an example of that, this God says, thou shalt not kill. But when you look at what this God does, this God kills, not in a case of war, not in a case of survival, but this God kills sometimes just for the sake of killing. For instance, was killed because he was just wicked. It doesn't say why he was wicked or what he did that was so wicked, but he was just killed. Onan was then killed because Onan was jizzing on the floor. He didn't want to, get Tamar pregnant so that the baby would be his brother's baby. So he was jizzing on the floor. So this guy just arbitrarily killed him as well. Not punish him, not try to re-educate him, not try to teach him, not show him any kind of love. No, I'm just going to kill this joker. So this God often does what he says not to do. They genocide some people. They take over some people. Hey, kill all the men, kill all the old men, kill all the women, kill all the babies. Only leave the young girls who have not known a man. Let's just kill him. But of course he tells us not to kill. So that's this God saying, do as I say, not as I do. But there is an instance where when I was a believer, I thought this God would want us to do exactly as he does. And in that, I developed a, not hatred, but a dislike, a non-caring for Israelites and Muslims. The reason why is because there's a part of your New Testament, and it says a man cannot have two masters. You either love one or hate the other. And so either you love God or you love mammon, not one or the other. Mammon was also always translated in teachings to mean money. So you cannot love God and money. But when I dug deeper into the thought process of this, mammon could also represents the world of man. So you cannot love God, but also love the world. You cannot love God and love the things of the world that are not of this God. So when you think about that deeply, what you have to conclude concerning Islam and Judaism is that they are worshiping a different God than the one that you are worshiping, because there are distinct differences. You see, Islam diverges from Judaism at the point of Abraham, and Abraham had Ishmael. Ishmael becomes the progenitor of the God of the Muslims, to the 12 kings and then up to Muhammad. And then when you have Christianity, there's the Jesus character. This is where Judaism and Christianity diverge, because the Jews do not believe that Jesus was a Messiah, nor do they believe that he was the Son of God. This is also where Muslims and Christians diverge, because Muslims and Christians also differ in the fact that Isha was a great prophet for the Muslim, but not the Son of God and not one with God. There is only Allah. So we have these differences, and in each of these differences, there are a multitude of different teachings. Keeping the law, not keeping the law. Praying 5 times a day, facing Mecca, waiting for Muhammad to return, waiting for Jesus to return, waiting on the Messiah. All these different teachings start to create a different view, a different iconography of this God. So they're all worshiping a different God. And the fact is, this God demonstrates that if you worship a different God, then you are to hate the people or hate that God. As identified when the Israelites so-called escaped from Egypt, and at the base of the mountain, they made a golden calf. Most likely, this is the worship of the Egyptian goddess Hathor. What did Moses command? Kill 3,000 people for worshiping another God. when they were at Horeb and the men started getting that good poom poom from those Moabite women and start worshiping the gods of the Moabite women, most likely the pantheon of El, Asherah, Yahweh, Baal, Mot, those men had to be killed as well. So for those who worship a different God, they must be destroyed. In the Islamic teachings, those who worship a different God are considered to be infidels. Either they convert over through force or through taxation, or they convert over because they choose to, or in most black people's situation, it was through slavery and colonization. They convert over. Then, other than that, if they don't convert, kill them. They're infidels. In the Christian idea, if they don't convert over, earlier in Christianity, it was to kill them or to force them to convert over. In today's modern world, if they don't convert over, then they get to go and live eternity in the pit of hell, in the lake of fire, to be tormented for all times because their name would not be found in the book of life. So in each case, there is the idea of you cannot have the acceptance of a different variation or different gods. And in this case, each one of these gods are a different God. So therefore, the idea of the Muslim, the Christian, and the Jew worshiping the same God is an impossibility because each one of these gods are different. And since each one of them are different, then those gods and those people must be hated because you cannot love both of them at the same time. Christians are the only ones who find themselves vacillating. The Christian will easily hate the Muslim and the Muslim God. Most of that is because of geopolitical issues. But then they will kind of be okay with the Jewish God because they hold on to things like those who bless Israel will be blessed, those who curse Israel will be cursed. They still hold on to the idea of Revelations where when Jesus returns, he's going to return for his people. And the Jewish people are supposed to be the chosen ones that Christians still accept, and that they are then grafted into this God. And so they have this hodgepodge of doctrine that they supposedly are mixing to make them somewhat okay with the Israelites, but yet they hate the Muslims. But in truth, a Christian is also showing hatred towards the Israelites because they are condemning them to this pit of hell as well. But geopolitically, they are allied with them because they are waiting for this end time to happen, and it has to come through these people, and it has to have elements of these people gaining their free state, the desert blooming, things of that nature, in order for them to have what they truly want, which is their return or going to heaven. And so they tolerate the Israelite for their own selfish needs. But again, this God says that I'm a jealous God. This God says that don't put any other God before me. But if you are accepting of the Israelite version of this God, you are putting that God before your Christian God. The Muslims are straight up with it. We ain't putting no God before Allah. We hate all of y'all, Christian, Israelite alike. It doesn't matter. And the Jewish people are like, we're the chosen one. So we don't really care about either one of your gods, your Christian God or your Muslim God, because it's not the real true God. And all three are claiming to have the real true God. And what's even more interesting is that when you delve into each religion independently, what you see is man has created doctrines that split their own religions into different denominations, which then still is creating yet another subset of the same God. So tell me what you guys think about that. Subscribe to the channels, and always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.